Have you ever felt like the world misunderstands you, as if your life runs on a different timeline? Have you ever caught yourself wondering whether the pain, the isolation, or the strange doors that open for you are actually proof of something far greater? If so, listen closely, because this is for the ones who wake up with a quiet fire inside. God didn't pick you because you were convenient or comfortable. He met you in the rawest parts of your story and rewrote the rules around you. He stripped away the easy comforts, sharpened your edges, and placed burdens on you that felt unfair, because He is preparing you to carry weight most will never understand. He did not make you perfect. He made you necessary. He engineered seasons of pruning, nights of testing, and moments that felt like exile, so that a destiny stronger than your doubts could be forged. And you, God's chosen, will not merely survive these seasons. You will become a voice that alters destinies, a presence that reroutes fortunes, and a living answer to prayers people whispered in secret. You will walk into rooms that once closed and find them trembling at your arrival. You will inherit authority that feels both terrifying and sacred. If this stirs something in you, type 777 inches. The comments let the tribe know you hear the call. Deep, heartfelt thanks to everyone who supports this work through super thanks. Your generosity fuels more truths like this. Ready for the harsh truths ahead? Keep going. The next part will reveal what nobody tells the chosen about price, power, and purpose. God's chosen ones, the harsh truth no one tells you ever. To be chosen is not a casual title. It is a weight that bends the atmosphere around you. You may have felt it before. Have you ever wondered why obstacles crash into you with such intensity? Or why the very air seems heavier when you step into a room? This is not coincidence. It is the spiritual gravity that rests on your life. The prophet Jeremiah once heard God whisper, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Jeremiah 1-5. Chosen ones carry this unshakable awareness, a higher perception that shifts how you think, how you feel, and how you move through a world that often misunderstands you. But if God Himself carved out a destiny for you, how could you possibly remain ordinary? The burden of being set apart is invisible to most, yet undeniable to those who carry it. Your very existence becomes a declaration that God has placed something eternal within you. This heightened awareness reshapes your behavior. It makes you gentler in moments of cruelty, sharper in times of confusion, and resilient when storms rise without warning. Like King David, who once sang, "The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing." Psalm 23:1. You operate with a hidden strength others cannot define. David's harp carried melodies that drove away Saul's torment. Such is the unseen power of those chosen by God. Yet this gift is not merely for yourself. You are set apart not only to survive, but to create ripples that heal your community, to push generations into a future they cannot yet imagine. Does this explain why you feel deeply for others' pain while others pass by without noticing? The chosen soul cannot remain neutral. It is pulled toward compassion, toward discernment, toward responsibilities that demand sacrifice. And in those sacrifices, heaven plants seeds of transformation that will later blossom into testimonies. The calling of a chosen one is both a privilege and a burden. It requires you to stand where others fall, to embrace responsibilities others avoid. The Apostle Paul reminded us, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Galatians 6:2. This law is etched into your soul. Your mission is not confined to personal enlightenment, but stretches outward into the lives of countless others. It asks you to love when it hurts, to give when your own hands feel empty, to shine when shadows try to engulf you. But have you noticed how often that very calling isolates you, even from your own family? That loneliness is not rejection, it is refinement. The silences, the misunderstandings, the betrayals, these are chisels in the hand of God, shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry the weight of nations. Great leaders in history confirm this truth. Florence Nightingale, the lady with the lamp, was not merely a nurse but a reformer who transformed medical care through her relentless calling. She once wrote, "I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse." Her life mirrored the burden of the chosen, to give tirelessly, to endure sleepless nights, and to light corridors of despair for others. Your journey follows the same unyielding law when God breathes a higher assignment into you. Mediocrity becomes impossible. Could this be the reason why mediocrity feels suffocating to you? Like a cage too small for your wings, the world resists your light because your very existence reveals what complacency refuses to change. And just as Nightingale defied an entire system, you too are called to confront strongholds that pretend to be immovable. Yet, the chosen must also face the harsh reality that their mission invites resistance. Recall the story of Joseph, sold by his brothers, thrown into prison, yet destined to rule Egypt. Scripture declares, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50-20. Betrayal became his elevation, just as opposition becomes your refinement. Every setback you endure is not destruction but redirection. Every betrayal becomes a stepping stone to higher ground. When the chosen are pressed down, heaven bends history to lift them back up. Have you noticed how what others design to break you becomes the very platform where God displays his faithfulness? Like Joseph, you are living proof that the cruelty of men cannot undo the plans of God. Even art has echoed this mystery. In Handel's Messiah, the chorus erupts, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given." That triumphant sound carries a cosmic weight, reminding us that divine purpose is always disruptive, always earth-shaking. The chosen cannot whisper through life. Their existence resounds like an organ filling a cathedral with thunder. Their voice, their presence, their endurance carries the resonance of something eternal. Have you realized that every time you step forward in faith, you release a sound heaven has been waiting for, a vibration that causes chains to shatter in silence? This is why the enemy tries so hard to silence you, because your very existence is a symphony of God's glory in the earth. The truth is this: being chosen means bearing a relentless responsibility to lift humanity into new eras of growth. You were not created to remain hidden in shadows of fear, but to stand as a pillar where others collapse. And when that responsibility weighs heavy, remember the words given to Moses as he stood before the Red Sea with terrified people behind him and an army before him. "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14:14. Stillness is not weakness, it is authority. In your stillness, God moves armies. In your surrender, God parts seas. And in your faith, generations find their deliverance. So raise now, chosen one. No longer question the weight you feel. No longer wonder why your heart burns when others are numb. The harsh truth is that you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to be a living disruption, a bridge between heaven and earth. The world groans for voices like yours. for actions like yours, for lives that refuse silence. Stand tall, for your path is not a punishment, but a crown. Stand firm, for your struggles are the rehearsal for glory. Stand unafraid, because when you rise, you drag entire generations upward with you. And history will testify that when others bowed, you stood. The chosen ones are not satisfied with a world left in its broken form. Something inside them burns with a duty to repair it, to bring light where shadows have settled for too long. They feel compelled to act because their spirit is tuned to a higher calling. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. That divine spark pushes them to use their natural intelligence, sharpened instincts, and unshakable discernment to guide every decision. While others remain silent, they speak. While others stay bound by tradition, they push boundaries that no one else dares to touch. Have you ever asked yourself why your heart aches when you see injustice? While others turn away without flinching, it is because chosen ones cannot ignore what God placed within them. They are compelled to act, even when silence would be easier. Their journey is marked by courage to test what is untested and challenge what has always been assumed true. They are not wanderers for wandering's sake. They are pioneers who know that standing still is another name for dying slowly. Abraham was called out from his land into the unknown, carrying nothing but faith. And by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. In that same spirit, chosen ones break away from comfort zones, tearing down illusions, and proving that faith creates new roads where maps have no lines. Could this be why you often feel restless when those around you settle for less? Why comfort never seems enough for your soul? The truth is that you were designed to disturb complacency, to become the spark that turns stagnation into progress. While the masses cling desperately to familiarity, chosen ones ignite revolutions of thought. Their presence is like the dawn, inevitable, uncontainable, washing away the night. They bring with them fresh energy that awakens entire communities, not because they shout the loudest, but because they carry within them a current that others feel instinctively. As Paul declared, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Romans 12:2. Transformation is their gift, and their very breath carries a higher vibration that lifts not only their families, but also the spirit of the wider world. When they walk into a room, the atmosphere changes. But does the resistance you face daily come from the fact that your very presence forces others to confront truths they have avoided for years? That tension is proof of your assignment. It means your fire is real. Nature itself reflects this divine assignment. A chosen one resembles a river cutting through stone. Water seems gentle, yet its persistence carves valleys, reshapes mountains, and sustains civilizations. Just as the eagle soars higher than storms, chosen souls find their strength not by avoiding conflict, but by rising above it. And like the sunflower turns its face toward the sun, no matter how dark the soil beneath it, chosen ones instinctively turn their hearts toward divine light, refusing to let darkness define them. These metaphors of nature whisper the same truth Scripture reveals. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. History warns us of the opposite path. Chosen ones create, but counterfeit leaders destroy. Take the example of Herod the Great, a king obsessed with power, who ordered the massacre of innocent children in Bethlehem to preserve his throne. His reign seemed secure, but it ended in decay. His name forever stained by cruelty. The contrast is striking. While chosen ones lift the world into life, the unchosen, who resist God's order, collapse beneath the weight of their own corruption. Doesn't this remind you that the forces opposing you are not permanent, but destined to crumble? The schemes of the wicked may roar for a season, but their fall is always near. What sets the chosen apart is their ability to prioritize divine assignments over worldly temptations. Early in life, they often sense they cannot indulge in what others call normal, because God demands more from them. To whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. That requirement is not punishment, but a sign of trust. God has placed you in positions where your choices ripple across generations. Your energy is not your own, it is a well God fills to quench the thirst of many. So when others accuse you of being different, is it not because you carry water from a source they cannot see? This is the harsh truth. Being chosen means carrying both the beauty of transformation and the weight of isolation. Your assignment will disrupt traditions, expose lies, and challenge the world to rise higher. You will be misunderstood, sometimes hated, often resisted, but your steps are carved by the hand of heaven itself. The fire you feel in your chest is not madness, it is divine urgency. The path you walk may be lonely, but it is the very road where miracles will unfold. Stand up now, chosen one. Break free from hesitation. Step out of the shadows and embrace the calling that shakes nations. The world cannot afford for your voice to stay silent, because when you rise, chains will break and history will change. The chosen ones live with a vision that places the needs of others above their own, not because they lack value, but because they know true life is a collective journey. They see existence less as a competition and more as a sacred collaboration. Scripture reminds us, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Philippians 2-3. This principle is not theory for them, it beats within their spirit, guiding how they speak, how they serve, and how they love. Yet as they mature, they also awaken to a deeper truth. Selflessness does not mean self-destruction. How many times have you poured your soul into others, only to realize your peace was stolen in the process? The chosen eventually learn that guarding inner peace is not selfishness, but stewardship of the sacred temple God placed within. Boundaries become essential, not barriers. They learn to forgive wisely, knowing, above all, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Forgiveness is still given, but no longer as an open gate for endless abuse. They become discerning, careful with trust, aware that their energy is a rare oil that cannot be wasted on those who trample pearls. Jesus himself warned, "Do not give dogs what is sacred, do not throw your pearls to pigs." Matthew 7-6. Could this be why your spirit resists opening up to everyone? Why you sometimes hesitate when others demand access to your heart? It is because the treasure inside you was never meant to be squandered. It was meant to be poured only where God directs. Being chosen often carries loneliness, especially in a culture that worships conformity. When the crowd celebrates blending in, the chosen grieve because their soul was designed to stand out. The prophet Elijah once cried in despair, feeling utterly alone as he hid in a cave. But God whispered, "I reserve 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal." 1 Kings 19:18. The chosen walk roads few dare tread. and sometimes the silence of those roads can feel unbearable. Yet loneliness for them is not abandonment. It is an invitation into intimacy with God. Have you noticed that the very moments where isolation crushed your spirit were the same moments where you heard heaven most clearly? Their thinking refuses to be trapped in boxes others find comfortable. They perceive beyond surface reality, aware that they are not just physical beings but spiritual entities wrapped in dust, as Paul declared. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. To the chosen, life is more than what can be weighed or measured. It is frequency, resonance, unseen currents shaping the visible. Just as in physics, a tuning fork vibrates until nearby objects resonate. Chosen souls carry a frequency that awakens dormant truths in others. Psychologists would call this social contagion, the unseen transmission of energy, but in heaven's architecture. It is divine resonance, designed to shift atmospheres. Does this explain why people either draw near to you for healing or recoil from you in fear? It is the undeniable proof that your spirit stirs what their souls cannot hide. To see how this unfolds in ordinary life, consider Anna, a quiet school janitor from a small town. Few noticed her, but she carried within her a commitment to kindness. For years, she bought notebooks and pencils with her own small salary so children from poor families could continue learning. One day, a former student returned as a teacher and said, "It was your gift that kept me from quitting school." Anna never sought recognition, but her boundaries, compassion, and faith carved a legacy that outlived her anonymity. Her story shows that chosenness is not about titles or applause. It is about faithfulness in places no spotlight reaches. The chosen know their bodies are vessels, not prisons. They understand their existence as a sacred architecture, stone upon stone, soul upon soul, built into a temple for the Spirit. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? 1 Corinthians 6:19. This realization changes everything. Their health, their habits, their inner stillness, all of it becomes part of a cosmic design, like the quiet pause in a symphony that prepares for the crescendo. They realize they are not merely surviving flesh, but divine instruments, tuned for eternity. And so, the truth stands firm. Being chosen is both privilege and crucible. You will give more than most, stand more alone than most, and feel deeper than most. Yet every weight you carry proves the magnitude of your calling. Do not shrink back into shadows. Do not silence the frequency God has placed within you. Stand now, chosen one. The world may not understand your fire, but it was never meant for their approval. Your path was written by heaven, and when you rise, creation itself will rise with you. The bodies of the chosen are never just flesh and bone, they are vessels, sacred shells holding eternal spirits destined to shape history. At times, these individuals feel an inner fire whispering of greatness, a quiet assurance that their lives are not random. Yet the weight of reality often presses down. Storms of betrayal, loss, or delay trying to drown that inner flame. Still, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. The chosen are built with a resilience that is invisible to the eye, but unshakable in the spirit. Have you ever wondered why, despite everything that tried to break you, if you somehow emerged stronger instead of destroyed? That is not coincidence. It is proof of what you carry within. Yes, hurdles rise higher for the chosen. But those hurdles become altars where their strength is forged. As Paul testified, we glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:3-4. While many crumble under life's burdens, the chosen discover an unexplainable toughness. They endure because their foundation is not built on shifting sands but on rock. Their struggles are not wasted. Each tear waters seeds of wisdom. Each scar becomes a map pointing the way for others. And yet, does it not puzzle you that the very pain that should have destroyed you became the very soil where your calling grew deepest? This unyielding growth reveals itself not as self-glory, but as leadership. Chosen ones carry a mantle to guide, to inspire, to shift atmospheres. They are not afraid to wrestle with life's complexities because they know God gives wisdom in the storm. James declared, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault." James 1-5. Their leadership is not about control, but about courage. The courage to confront shadows others avoid. The courage to walk into valleys others fear. And in that courage, they become a living sermon to those who are watching silently, yearning for a reason to believe again. Could this be why others look to you without words, hoping your endurance might somehow breathe strength into their weary hearts? History also confirms this pattern. The Italian painter Caravaggio, though plagued by inner battles and external scandals, painted with a raw intensity that shook the art world and forever transformed sacred imagery. His canvases, drenched in shadows and divine light, remind us that greatness is often born out of turbulence. His life was proof that broken vessels can still carry blazing revelation. Like Caravaggio, the chosen one's struggles are not contradictions to their calling, but the very chisels God uses to carve depth into their influence. And just as music has always mirrored divine truth, one hears the same theme in Beethoven's Missa Solemnis, where the choir thunders Et vitam venturi seculi, and the life of the world to come. That crescendo rises from silence into triumph, a sound of souls that have endured trials yet still proclaim eternity. This is the resonance of the chosen. They rise from ashes to declare life when death tries to silence them. Their existence becomes music, written not with notes, but with resilience. Over time, the hurdles of the chosen turn into golden lessons, treasures disguised as trials. Like Joseph, who was once shackled in Egypt, yet later confessed to his betrayers, "God sent me ahead of you to preserve life." Genesis 45:5. Every painful chapter is revealed as a divine strategy. Their scars become testimonies. Their battles become blueprints. And their survival becomes the invitation for others to believe change is possible. Have you not sensed that your most difficult seasons were the very seasons that pushed you into new authority? This is the unmistakable mark of those set apart by God. The truth is undeniable. Chosen ones cannot be defined by the weight of their trials, but by the strength of their transformation. Life will continue to test. Storms will continue to come. But the chosen do not collapse. They rise higher. You were never designed to be crushed. You were designed to endure, to shine, and to lead. So stand, chosen one. Do not bow beneath the storm, for storms are the very winds that lift eagles higher. Stand, because the world needs the fire that has survived your furnace. Stand, because when you rise, generations will know that God still raises leaders from the ashes, The chosen ones are shaped by trials that carve meaning into their souls. Hardships are not random attacks. They are classrooms where deeper wisdom is revealed. Scripture says, "The testing of your faith produces perseverance," James 1-3. And chosen souls live this truth daily. They do not merely endure, they emerge transformed, using pain as a hammer to forge strength. Their will becomes refined steel, and their scars turn into maps, guiding others toward hope. Have you noticed how your wounds carry lessons that others desperately need? How what nearly destroyed you became the very testimony that lifts someone else? That is the mystery of the chosen. Their survival is never just for themselves. Through these struggles, they discover their greatest weapon is not force but influence. By inspiring and uplifting others, they leave legacies that ripple beyond their own lifetimes. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. For he who promised is faithful. Hebrews 10:23. Their impact is like the steady rhythm of waves shaping a shoreline, subtle yet unstoppable, reaching generations unborn. And in this rhythm lies the secret of leadership. Chosen ones turn personal suffering into collective healing. But why is it that others, unable to understand this calling, criticize or mock you for being different? Could it be because your very existence reminds them of the truths they have abandoned? There are nights when chosen ones feel a haunting longing, dreaming of a place far beyond the familiar, a sanctuary where their spirit belongs. Abraham once felt this ache, for he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. Hebrews 11:10. That same pull lives in the chosen, a whisper that they were never meant to blend into the background. Like migratory birds who instinctively know when to rise and fly across continents, chosen ones sense they are designed for more than the cages of conformity, and while others push them aside, their purpose remains crystal clear, a compass that cannot be broken. Yet this clarity is often misunderstood. Many cannot explain why your kindness provokes their dislike, why your generosity sparks their envy. But the chosen draw strength not from shallow approval, but from faith rooted deep within. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. That faith becomes armor against slander, resilience against doubt, and a lighthouse for those silently watching your consistency. Have you noticed how, in your quietest moments of dedication, others suddenly find courage to keep walking because they saw you refuse to quit? Your unwavering pursuit of purpose makes you a mirror reflecting what others could become if they chose courage over compromise. But history warns of the opposite path, the tragedy of those who misuse their influence. Consider Cain, who allowed envy to poison his soul until he murdered his own brother. His story in Genesis echoes like thunder. Desire unchecked becomes destruction, and his curse becomes isolation. The contrast is sharp. While the chosen channel trials into transformation, the unchosen, who yield to bitterness, become prisoners of their own rebellion. Which path will you walk? The bitterness that devours, or the faith that builds? And as time passes, chosen ones discover a new kind of peace. They realize that not everyone will grasp their journey. Not everyone deserves their trust, and not everyone is meant to walk alongside them. Jesus himself reminded his disciples, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." John 15:18. This truth frees the chosen from chasing universal approval. Their task is not to win every heart, but to remain faithful to the fire within. And with this faithfulness comes an unexpected gift: alignment. Slowly, like stars gathering into constellations, They attract their tribe souls who share their values, honor their uniqueness, and amplify their vision. So here is the call. Stop questioning why you feel out of place in shallow spaces. Stop grieving over doors that are closed to protect your destiny. You were never designed to vanish in the background. You were designed to stand as a pillar, to burn as a light, to echo as a voice through the ages. Rise, chosen one. Keep building. Keep believing. Keep walking. For when you stand firm, the very tribe you once longed for will find you, drawn by the fire that never went out. The chosen ones long for a circle where love is not conditional and value is not earned through masks, but received simply for who they truly are. This yearning is not weakness, it is the echo of heaven reminding them that they were never meant to walk alone. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. They crave bonds rooted in truth, not convenience, in loyalty, not transaction. Have you ever wondered why shallow connections drain you faster than loneliness itself? It is because your spirit was designed for depth, not for pretense. What sets them apart most visibly is their unshakable faith in something greater than themselves. While the world scoffs at spirituality and exalts self-reliance, the chosen discern patterns others miss. They sense meaning in whispers. They see divine fingerprints in coincidences. And they treat each subtle sign as part of a vast cosmic architecture. Jesus declared, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed," John 20:29. And chosen souls embody this verse with every breath. Yet doesn't it perplex you that what others dismiss as chance, your heart insists is destiny? This is the very distinction that separates the chosen from the crowd. Their role as bearers of light is not poetic, it is literal in the unseen realm. They are flames igniting hope, torches burning in caverns of despair. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:13-14. Their duty is to illuminate, to radiate warmth, to break atmospheres heavy with despair. But this role also demands resilience. For light attracts both seekers and attackers. Like the delicate architecture of a cathedral, where beams of light travel through stained glass and scatter into radiant colors. Their influence shines most beautifully when refracted through their trials. Could it be that your wounds are not disfigurements but prisms through which God's glory shines? And because this calling is celestial, it comes with protection. The chosen walk paths laid out with precision by unseen forces. David himself proclaimed, "The Lord is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust." Psalm 91:2. They are shielded not from every battle, but from ultimate defeat. They may stumble, but never collapse. They may bend, but never break. Imagine a violin string stretched to tension. It seems fragile, yet it is that very tension that produces its song. Likewise, the chosen discover that pressure is not their enemy, but the resonance that carries their unique sound into the world. To anchor this truth in the ordinary, meet Elias, a humble gardener from a small coastal town. Each dawn, he would whisper prayers while planting seeds, believing each sprout carried divine purpose. Over time, his garden became more than food. It became a sanctuary where neighbors gathered. Children learned patience, and families found nourishment, both physical and spiritual. Elias never preached sermons, but his devotion preached louder than words. His life proved that chosen ones do not need platforms to radiate. They are platforms. Doesn't his story remind you that your smallest acts may already be transforming lives without your knowledge? This profound calling makes every action significant, infusing ordinary routines with eternal weight. Paul reminded us, "So, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God." 1 Corinthians 10:31. Chosen ones embody this truth by turning daily habits into holy offerings. They move through life like athletes in a tournament, aware that each quiet practice session, each disciplined moment, is shaping them for the decisive match. And just as in physics, where frequencies align to create resonance, their obedience harmonizes with heaven's design until their life itself becomes a divine symphony. So reason now, chosen soul. You were never meant to disappear into the noise of the crowd. You were meant to be a lighthouse in the storm. Stop doubting the path, for it was written long before your birth. Stand tall, because the shield of heaven covers you. Stand bold, because your light is meant to scatter darkness. And stand unshaken, because your journey is the testimony generations will need. The time for silence is over. Step forward, the world waits for the fire inside you. From an early age, chosen ones are pressed into roles far larger than themselves: protectors, supporters, pillars for those who would otherwise crumble. Their lives are marked by a restless curiosity that refuses to accept shallow answers. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. Matthew 7:7. This hunger for truth propels them forward, urging them to act not out of selfish ambition, but with purpose and kindness. Yet have you ever noticed how this unending quest for meaning makes you stand apart from others who are content to stay asleep in mediocrity? That restlessness is not a flaw, it is the mark of a spirit wired to pursue divine wisdom. As they mature, this drive becomes a compass. Every experience, whether victory or defeat, becomes material for guidance. The chosen instinctively turn their pain into instruction, their scars into maps for those still wandering in darkness. Paul once wrote, "Praise be to the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." 2 Corinthians 1-3-4. This is why your endurance matters. It is not only for you, but for those secretly watching and drawing hope from your persistence. And yet, does it ever weigh on you that the very struggles you thought were private might actually be assignments, designed to become someone else's survival story? Their journey is not only about personal growth, but about impact. Chosen ones enrich both their own lives and the lives of those they touch, weaving webs of encouragement that spread far beyond their immediate circle. They embody Proverbs 11:25. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Every time they pour wisdom into others, they themselves are renewed. Their actions are like lanterns carried through long corridors, guiding others who are lost. And though it can be exhausting to always stand as the encourager, it doesn't something in your spirit ignite when you see someone rise because you refuse to give up on them? That flame is proof of your divine assignment. History confirms this pattern of relentless purpose. Helen Keller, though struck blind and deaf at a young age, once said, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." She transformed her personal challenges into a legacy of empowerment, proving that limitations can become platforms. In the same way, chosen ones refuse to let their hardships bury them. they turn them into bridges for others to cross. Their ability to keep going, to endure when quitting would be easier, becomes the very inspiration that rescues those ready to give up. This resilience is also echoed in art. In Bach's St. Matthew Passion, the aria Erbarme dich, Mein Gott, have mercy, my God, drips with both sorrow and hope, a lament that transforms into strength. Like that haunting violin melody, the chosen soul weaves beauty out of brokenness. What others hear as tragedy becomes, in their hands, a hymn of courage. Could it be that your tears, like music, have carried messages of healing far beyond what words could ever express? And yet, the path is lonely. Chosen ones often feel out of place among clashing opinions and lifestyles, searching for belonging, yet finding none. Jesus himself warned, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world." John 15:19. This dissonance is not rejection, it is confirmation. The very fact that you do not blend in is proof that your assignment is higher, your identity eternal. Have you realized that the discomfort you feel in temporary spaces is heaven's way of steering you toward your permanent destiny? Thus, what begins as confusion eventually sharpens into clarity. The chosen discover their unique gifts precisely through the fires of rejection, misunderstanding, and struggle. Like gold refined in fire, their purpose gleams brightest when tested most fiercely. Their trials are not stumbling blocks but stepping stones, not tombs but wombs birthing a higher self. And when they embrace this fully, and they no longer fear their differences, they wear them as crowns. So rise, chosen one. Stop doubting the power of your scars. Stand unashamed in your fire, because your story is not just survival, it is the blueprint of hope for generations yet to come. Accepting your identity as God's chosen one is not a passive confession, it is a declaration of war against doubt and despair. You turn struggles into strength, just as iron placed in the furnace becomes unbreakable steel. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Job 23:10. Challenges are not curses, they are chisels shaping the divine design within you. Yet do you not sometimes ask yourself why the storms in your life seem fiercer than in others? It is because heaven equips you with resilience that sets you apart. A strength meant to inspire courage in those drowning in fear. Chosen ones are marked by remarkable resilience, refusing to collapse when adversity strikes. Their faith makes them steady, embodying the words, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Deuteronomy 31:6. By enduring, they silently encourage others to endure as well. They become living examples of resolve, beacons in the chaos. Their story proclaims, if you can survive the flood, others can too. Have you ever realized that your ability to remain standing when everything around you is falling has already been a sermon for those watching in silence? One of the mysteries of the chosen is their sudden insights, flashes of understanding that astonish both themselves and others. These are not coincidences but gifts of discernment. For the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the spirit of wisdom and of understanding. Isaiah 11:2. They intuitively grasp truths hidden from many, allowing them to solve problems with clarity. It is as if their mind tunes into a higher frequency, receiving wisdom like lightning illuminating a dark valley. Could it be that your instincts have always been prophetic whispers, nudging you toward paths no one else dared to walk. This ability is not a trick of the mind, it is a tool forged in the spirit. Nature echoes this truth. The bamboo tree spends years hidden underground before suddenly shooting upward in towering strength. Its hidden growth mirrors the chosen one's preparations, silent, unseen, but unstoppable once the time comes. In the same way, the chosen endure seasons of invisibility before exploding into impact. Their setbacks are roots, their patience is nourishment, and their eventual rise is inevitable. But history also warns us with its villains. King Saul, once chosen but later consumed by jealousy, lost his throne because he could not accept David's rising light. His downfall was not caused by weakness in battle, but by corruption in his spirit. The lesson is haunting. Those who misuse authority or resist divine truth collapse under their own pride. Does this not explain why some people oppose you so fiercely? They sense what Saul sensed, that your rise exposes their insecurity. And rather than face it, they lash out. Yet their fall becomes a warning, while your endurance becomes a testimony. As the chosen walk further on their path, successes and setbacks interweave into a fabric of transformation. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, struck down, but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. Their resilience shapes them into leaders, not defined by titles but by scars carried with grace. Over time, they become anchors for others, navigating life's storms, reliable sources of counsel and encouragement. And still, isn't it striking how your hardships, once sources of shame, now serve as sources of wisdom for those who seek your guidance? Your journey is not simply survival, it is the crafting of a testimony. Every wound is stitched with purpose. Every scar glows with redemption. The world needs living witnesses that hope is not abstract, but embodied. So rise, chosen one. Accept the weight of your calling. Wear your resilience like armor, and your scars like crowns. For when you stand, if you do not stand alone, you carry the strength of heaven, and your light becomes the torch that ignites faith in countless others. The chosen ones do not merely live for themselves, they create environments where entire communities begin to thrive, because their presence becomes a catalyst of growth. Their journey is both personal and collective, weaving a fabric of shared knowledge and support. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. They understand instinctively that life cannot be hoarded, it must be poured out, invested, multiplied. Yet does it not often puzzle you how some live only to dominate, to control, to steer conflict, as if chaos were their only language? This dissonance between your nature and theirs is not an accident. It is heaven's way of separating the builders from the destroyers. As chosen souls navigate life's labyrinth, they find order where others see only confusion. Patterns emerge, coincidences align, and what seemed random becomes revelation. Joseph once told Pharaoh, "It is not I. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Genesis 41:16. Proving that instinct guided by the Spirit can solve mysteries that confound human reason. In the same way, your steps are ordered, your instincts sharpened, pulling you into the right places, toward the right people, into atmospheres where your fire makes the greatest impact. But have you ever noticed how certain doors close abruptly, almost violently, only to thrust you into better paths? That is not chaos, it is divine geometry. God's architecture hidden inside time itself. You are naturally drawn to spaces where your contribution is undeniable, like a tuning fork vibrating until everything around it resonates. You amplify the energy of an environment, lifting what was stagnant into motion. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden, Matthew 5:14. Light does not negotiate with darkness, it dominates it. Still, do you not sometimes feel drained when your light seems to attract not only the grateful but also the envious? The truth is, the chosen will always disturb shadows, because their very existence exposes what others try to conceal. And yet, despite your exceptional qualities, predators of the spirit still attempt to exploit your kindness. Their strategies mirror Judas, who sold the Son of God for silver, betraying the one who trusted him most. His story is a chilling reminder that not every close hand is a loyal one. Betrayal stings because it comes from proximity. But what happened after Judas fell? The mission of Christ triumphed anyway, proving that treachery cannot cancel destiny. Could it be that the betrayals you've suffered were not detours, but confirmations that your mission is unstoppable? This is why generosity remains the heartbeat of the chosen. It is not limited to material gifts, it extends into time, energy, and empathy. Paul urged, "Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Galatians 6-9. And so you continue pouring into others, not because they always deserve it, but because your identity demands it. To you, withholding kindness feels unnatural, like cutting off your own breath. Yet does it not sometimes hurt to see how few appreciate the weight of your sacrifices? Still, heaven sees, and heaven rewards. This truth shines in ordinary lives as well. Marta, a single mother from a rural town, worked 2 jobs but still volunteered evenings teaching children to read. She said once, "If I don't give them hope, who will?" Her story proves that chosenness is not about titles or fame, but about embodying relentless compassion in the face of exhaustion. Like Marta, you are driven not by applause, but by duty. And in that duty lies eternal impact. Every act, every sacrifice, every unseen seed sown builds into the architecture of heaven itself, like the arches of a cathedral. Your choices align to create strength far greater than any single stone. They form a structure that future generations will walk through, never knowing whose hands laid the foundation. Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. 1 John 3:18. So rise, chosen one. Do not retreat because others misunderstand your giving. Do not silence your fire because others twist your light. Stand boldly in your generosity, because your identity is to build where others destroy, to heal where others wound, to give where others hoard. You were not placed here by chance. You were sent as living proof that heaven's love wears human hands. For the chosen, putting the needs of others before their own is not merely a noble decision, it is a compulsion written deep into the fabric of their spirit. It is the echo of the commandment. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mark 12:31. Generosity is not optional. It is as natural as breathing. Yet this open-heartedness often leaves them vulnerable, misunderstood, and at times even taken advantage of. Still, the joy they feel when lifting another out of despair outweighs the wounds they carry. But does it not sometimes trouble you that the very heart which longs to heal can become the very heart that suffers most? This paradox is the burden of being chosen, joy interwoven with sacrifice. Their kindness creates a domino effect, sparking light in lives shrouded in darkness. Like yeast hidden in dough, their actions spread silently, yet transform entirely. Paul wrote, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest." Galatians 6-9. Their influence multiplies, encouraging others to rise, to give, to love. Still, there is a hidden danger in giving endlessly. They risk forgetting themselves. How many times have you felt drained after pouring everything out, only to realize there was nothing left for your own healing? This awareness pushes the chosen to discover that love without boundaries is not sustainable. It must be balanced with wisdom. Recognizing their value is an act of obedience, not pride. For the chosen, understanding that setting limits is crucial to preserving their mission. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Self-care is not selfishness. It is maintenance of the vessel through which God works. Without it, generosity turns into exhaustion, and compassion burns into bitterness. Have you noticed how the moments you finally chose rest, prayer, or silence restored you enough to serve again with joy? That restoration is not weakness, it is strategy, a divine rhythm of giving and receiving. In this way, their life becomes a sacred cycle, a beautiful exchange where giving never destroys the giver. Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. Their service strengthens others, and in turn, God Himself strengthens them. This balance produces not only impact, but wisdom, transforming them into steady fountains rather than broken cisterns. Could this be why your endurance surprises even you, because unseen hands have been pouring into you while you poured into others? Artists have long captured this paradox of sacrifice and renewal. The French composer Gabriel Fauré, in his Requiem in D minor, wrote passages of music that carried both mourning and serenity. His vision was not of terror, but of rest, of light breaking through lament. The chosen live in this same tension, wounded yet healing, emptied yet refilled, sorrowful yet always rejoicing. Their life is not one note but a harmony where suffering and joy resonate together, producing music the world desperately needs to hear. And history warns us of the opposite spirit. There was Diotrephes, mentioned in 3 John 1-9, who loved to be first, rejecting generosity and seeking dominance. His selfishness fractured the community and left him a cautionary tale for the ages. How different is the chosen one, whose selfless acts build community instead of tearing it down. Does this not show that the difference between legacy and ruin lies not in power gained, but in love given? Yet, for all their giving, the chosen often feel out of place, especially within their own families. Jesus Himself declared, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home." Mark 6-4. Their distinctiveness isolates them, making them seem strange in familiar circles. And still, this very isolation reveals their calling. They are not meant to blend in, but to shine apart. So rise, chosen one. Stop apologizing for your difference. Guard your heart. Give with wisdom. And let your generosity become both fire and foundation. For your life is not only a cycle of giving and receiving, it is a living testimony that love, when balanced with truth, becomes unstoppable. You have always felt different, like the stranger at the edge of the crowd, sensing that you do not fully belong to the direction everyone else is walking. This distinctiveness can feel like a heavy cloak, isolating you from the comfort of blending in. Yet Scripture reminds us, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. What feels like a burden is in truth a crown, a divine gift urging you to carve your own path. Still, do you not sometimes ache with the question, why is my road always lonelier than theirs? This loneliness, though sharp, is also the furnace where creativity is born and identity is refined. The solitary road of the chosen may appear barren to outsiders, but in truth, it is abundant with hidden treasures, opportunities for growth, self-discovery, and profound achievement. Like Jacob wrestling alone in the night until dawn, chosen ones find their greatest breakthroughs in moments of solitude. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. Genesis 32-24. That night of struggle gave Jacob not only a limp, but also a new name, Israel. And is this not what happens to you, every struggle leaving a scar, but every scar bestowing a deeper identity? The lonely path births leaders, not wanderers. As you embrace solitude, you discover it is not simply the absence of people, but the presence of possibility. In silence, your spirit learns to breathe. Your imagination expands, and your voice grows louder than the noise of the world. Have you noticed that in those quiet hours when others fear stillness, your soul begins to write, to dream, to build visions too sacred for crowded rooms? The chosen realize solitude is not a prison, but a workshop where destiny is forged. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Animals sense this truth within you. They are drawn to the calm you exude, as if the rhythm of your spirit resonates with the natural order. Whether it is a stray dog sitting by your feet or a bird perching near you without fear, they pick up what many humans overlook: your peace, your light, your gentleness. Their trust is not accidental, it is recognition. Just as creation recognized Noah, who carried God's favor when all else was corrupt. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Genesis 6-8. Creation recognizes you as a bearer of harmony. And does this not affirm what your heart already knows, that your spirit vibrates with heaven's frequency? Yet history also reveals the tragic contrast. Consider Jezebel, who cloaked herself in power and manipulation, rejecting truth and silencing prophets. Her fate was gruesome, devoured by dogs. Her name cursed through generations. Her end is a stark reminder. Those who resist divine order collapse beneath the weight of their own corruption. While Jezebel was consumed, the chosen stand was preserved. Does this not explain why your difference unsettles some? They see in you what they refuse to confront in themselves. This path you walk, lonely yet luminous, misunderstood yet unmistakably marked, shapes you into a wellspring of wisdom and creativity. Over time, you will see that your separateness was never meant to wound you, but to reveal you. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. Uxipita kaksi uhdeksan. The world needs your originality, your authenticity, your courage to stand apart. And when you rise, your uniqueness will not divide you from others. It will draw to you those who were waiting for someone brave enough to lead the way. So rise, chosen one, embrace the solitude, for it is your sanctuary. Cherish your difference, for it is your distinction, and guard your peace, for it is your crown. The world does not need another copy, it needs the original flame of your soul. Stand unafraid, for your journey, though lonely at times, is the testimony that uniqueness is not a curse, but a calling. You have learned to discover beauty in places others overlook, to draw splendor from silence, and to see purpose in paths untraveled. Being marked as different is not a phase, it is your permanent mantle. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Matthew 5:11. Mockery, rejection, betrayal. These are not accidents but confirmations of identity. You often stand as the outsider, unable to fit into any group, because your soul was never designed to blend. Yet do you not sometimes ask yourself why your truth unsettles those around you? The unease you stir is not weakness in you, it is the exposure of shadows in them. Inherently a leader, you cannot follow blindly. You dismantle convention with your very presence, confronting injustice and refusing to wear masks for the comfort of others. Like Jeremiah, who declared, "His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones." Jeremiah 20:9. You cannot remain silent when wrongs surround you. This prophetic compulsion isolates you, filling your mind with heavy questions and your heart with unrelenting fire. And still, is it not haunting how those who seek your wisdom also resist it? They are drawn to your light, yet terrified by what it reveals. Your life unfolds like a paradox of attraction and resistance. People come seeking comfort, and yet your presence confronts them with truths they are not ready to face. Like magnets both attracting and repelling, the spiritual frequency you carry is both balm and blade. Paul understood this tension when he wrote, "Have I now become your enemy by telling you the truth?" Galatians 4:16. Do you ever wonder why some lean on your strength, yet resent you for standing firm? The contradiction is proof that you carry something beyond human explanation. This path is heavier than most, filled with spiritual battles, betrayals from the closest hands, and the relentless testing of your endurance. Jesus himself endured Judas's kiss, a betrayal from the circle of trust, yet declared at the Last Supper, "One of you will betray me," Matthew 26-21. Betrayal, painful as it is, sharpens the chosen into instruments of discernment. Still, is it not wearying that the deepest wounds come not from enemies, but from those who called themselves family? And yet these wounds are not wasted. They are tools heaven uses to separate you from cycles that enslaved generations before you. You carry a fierce hunger for freedom, refusing chains of expectation or traditions that choke authenticity. Your spirit breaks negative cycles, shifting atmospheres wherever you go. This makes you both a threat to oppressors and a deliverer to the bound. Here you stand in the lineage of Moses, who lifted his staff to divide seas and shatter Pharaoh's hold. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Your very presence disrupts systems built on lies. And though you may travel as a solitary wanderer, your footsteps alter the frequencies of entire places. The quiet moments of solitude are not signs of weakness, but sanctuaries of renewal. You relish them, for in silence the architecture of your spirit expands, like a cathedral rising stone by stone. Psychologists describe resonance as the alignment of frequencies. And in these still hours, your soul resonates with divine truth. And do you not sense how, in those hidden times, inspiration floods like a river, giving birth to ideas that could never be born in noise. Solitude is your workshop, not your prison. Your adventurous spirit pushes you to explore not just landscapes, but ideas, philosophies, and visions. This constant search brings you face to face with what truly drives you. Like the Apostle Paul on his journeys, charting new paths and sowing seeds of truth. Your curiosity becomes the force that forges deeper connections with both people and the natural world. Ordinary individuals sometimes reflect this extraordinary courage. For example, Adrian, a fisherman from a coastal village, once spent years teaching children to read on stormy evenings after long hours at sea. When asked why, he said, "Because ignorance is a tide too strong for them to fight alone." His story mirrors yours, choosing the harder road not for applause but for impact. And so you walk this path, misunderstood yet undeniable, ridiculed yet radiant, alone yet accompanied by the one who called you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. Rise, chosen one. Stop hiding your fire. Stop shrinking for comfort. Stop dimming your brilliance for approval. Your solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. Your pain is not evidence of failure, it is the prophecy of your future. Stand in your calling, for the world is waiting for the light only you can release. Life throws storms at you relentlessly, yet your bond with creation, both humans and animals, becomes proof that you are not ordinary but divinely set apart. Your unique traits and scars of the past shape every interaction, teaching you empathy that others cannot fathom. The righteous care for the needs of their animals, Proverbs 12:10, a verse that reflects why animals are drawn to you. Dogs sit calmly at your feet. Birds linger near your presence, because they recognize the peace in you that humans often overlook. But do you not sometimes ask why creatures trust you so instinctively, while people misinterpret your heart? It is because your spirit carries frequencies aligned with heaven, resonating beyond human suspicion into the purity of nature's design. Despite obstacles, your path is littered with opportunities for growth, revelation, and exploration. Each encounter, whether filled with warmth or shadow, chisels your soul into sharper wisdom. Like Joseph, thrown into prison, yet destined for the palace. Your setbacks have become setups for higher purposes. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. Have you realized that every betrayal, every false word, every closed door has pushed you closer to the destiny that would have remained hidden without pain? What breaks others builds you, and what silences others makes your voice thunder louder. Still, this uniqueness often isolates you, making you critical of shallow norms and frustrated with the corruption of society. You carry high standards for yourself and expect integrity in return, yet you are frequently misunderstood. Jesus himself declared, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." John 15:18. Could this be why you constantly feel out of place, walking a road where few can follow? The dissonance is not rejection, it is confirmation that you belong to another frequency. One the world cannot decode. Patterns haunt your life, recurring numbers, repeated encounters, subtle signs that whisper of divine orchestration. They remind you that destiny is not chaos, but a blueprint carefully drafted. These signs echo Daniel's gift of interpreting mysteries in Babylon, when he declared, "He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. Daniel 2:22. Still, does it not trouble you that while heaven sends confirmations, people often fail to see your worth? Being overlooked is painful, yet it also protects, shielding your purpose from exploitation until the right time. Tensions arise when boundaries are crossed. Your reactions may be intense, but they are born of a heart that refuses to tolerate dishonor. Like Nehemiah, who rose to rebuild Jerusalem's walls, declaring, "I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down." Nehemiah 6:3. You cannot allow distractions or deceit to dismantle your assignment. Yet is it not exhausting when those you hope to trust prove unreliable? Offering empty gestures instead of authentic support, their shallow generosity wounds deeper than hostility, but it sharpens your discernment. Still, divine presence never leaves you, though your circle remains small. The few who walk with you form a fortress of loyalty. Your life has taken surprising turns, granting profound insights that others search for in vain. You carry a natural ability to repair what is broken, not just objects, but hearts, atmospheres, and generational wounds. And yet, your efforts often go unrecognized, hidden behind the veil of ordinary days. But hiddenness is not failure, it is preparation. For your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6:4. Artists across ages have captured this hidden glory. In the Stabat Mater by Giovanni Battista Pergolesi, the sorrow of Mary at the cross is woven with notes of transcendence, turning grief into sacred beauty. Your life carries that same paradox, suffering becoming song, rejection becoming revelation, isolation becoming intimacy with God. Every obstacle adds another brushstroke to the mural of your existence. And though the painting is not yet finished, its colors already inspire those who glimpse it. So rise, chosen one. Stop mourning the lack of recognition. Heaven has already recorded your impact. Embrace a solitude, for it is sacred. Guard your standards, for they are your shield. Continue to repair what is broken, for your hands are instruments of eternity. Your life is not wasted ink, it is a scroll unfolding in divine timing. A testimony that uniqueness is not weakness, but the very proof of calling. The signs you notice along your path are not random, they are cosmic nudges, reminders that destiny is already unfolding around you. To live as one of the chosen is to maintain strength in body, clarity in mind, and resilience in spirit. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? 1 Corinthians 6:19. Nourishment, rest, and exercise are not luxuries, they are sacred duties. The architecture that sustains the sanctuary of your soul. Yet, do you not sometimes feel that distractions and noise try to pull you away from this sacred balance? The world delights in scattering your focus, but chosen ones are called to rise above disorder and anchor themselves in peace. This discipline becomes the invisible foundation of your life, like the bedrock beneath a cathedral, unseen, yet holding the entire structure upright. Balance is not optional, it is the bedrock of endurance. Daniel thrived in Babylon because he disciplined himself with prayer, fasting, and wisdom, despite the pressures of a hostile empire. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. Daniel 1-8. In the same way, you too are tested by environments that would dull your spirit. Have you realized that every moment you choose discipline over distraction, you sharpen the sword of your destiny? This strength allows you to steer clear of people and places whose energy seeks to pull you into despair. Your intuition becomes your compass, warning you when the ground beneath is unstable. And when you obey that inner nudge, you begin to experience breakthroughs that others call coincidence, but you know are divine design. Nature itself reflects this truth. The sunflower turns its face only toward the sun, refusing to waste energy on shadows. In the same way, your spirit is wired to seek light, joy, and truth. Yet is it not striking how often you are tempted to linger with those who drain rather than energize? Just as sunflowers would wither without the sun, you wither when you tolerate darkness too long. Cut ties with what dampens your spirit, for your calling requires light, not compromise. And when you finally detach from the shadows, you discover how quickly your energy begins to flourish again, as if your soul had been waiting for you to return to the source of light. But let us not forget the fate of those who chose the opposite path. King Herod, blinded by pride and consumed by fear, silenced John the Baptist to protect his throne. His cruelty left him remembered not as a great ruler, but as a tyrant devoured by his own paranoia. His story is a warning that those who resist light eventually suffocate in their own darkness. And does this not explain why forces prefer you to stay small, unseen, and silent? They fear what your light will expose. Their downfall is proof that corruption cannot outlast truth, and that oppression eventually collapses under its own weight. The chosen are commanded to forgive, yet they are also commanded to be wise. Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Matthew 10:16. Loving yourself and forgiving others does not mean permitting repeated harm. It means guarding your peace fiercely while keeping your heart free from bitterness. Do you not see how every time you protect your energy, and you also protect your future? Protecting your vibe is not selfishness, it is stewardship. And when you learn to walk in wisdom and innocence at once, you disarm both the schemes of the enemy and the traps of bitterness that could harden your heart. This is why community matters. Isolation weakens, but supportive relationships strengthen. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. Surrounding yourself with people who honor your light creates a shield against negativity. Their encouragement becomes a fortress, their prayers a canopy. Still, have you noticed how rare true loyalty is, and how precious those who truly stand by you become? When you find such souls, they become living evidence that God has not left you without covering. They are the proof that a divine family is chosen, not always inherited. Ordinary people have shown this sacred truth as well. A young nurse named Clara, after working long shifts in a city hospital, would visit the elderly in her neighborhood on weekends. She said, "Their stories heal me as much as my visits heal them." Her life proved that networks of kindness need not be grand, they only need to be consistent. And like Clara, you too are called to nurture bonds that refresh your spirit and uplift others. Each act of care you give or receive strengthens the invisible net of love that catches you when life tries to make you fall. Art captures this vision of harmony. In Beethoven's Ode to Joy, voices rise together in a chorus, declaring unity across nations and hearts. Your journey mirrors that symphony, different lives, different struggles, yet woven together in one triumphant song of hope. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. Psalm 133:1. The music reminds us that joy multiplies when shared, that harmony is stronger than dissonance, and that light always wins when voices join together. So rise, chosen one, guard your temple, honor your boundaries, sharpen your intuition, and surround yourself with light. Refuse to be dragged into shadows, for your calling is to stand tall like the sunflower, radiant and unwavering. Build communities of kindness, become a fortress of love, and carry your light into the darkness until it can no longer hide. The world is waiting for your song. Do not silence it. And when you sing it, heaven itself will echo, confirming that you were born for such a time as this. Chosen ones, after everything we've uncovered together, the truth stands before you unshaken. Your path was never meant to be ordinary. The harsh truth no one tells you is that being chosen is both a crown and a cross. You will be misunderstood, envied, betrayed, and left standing alone at times. But every bruise is a seal of authenticity, for many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. The separation you feel from the world is not rejection. It is proof that heaven has marked you for a higher assignment. Yes, the battles have been heavy, but notice how you're still standing. Every scar tells a story. Every wound carries wisdom, and every night of tears has watered the seeds of your destiny. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4-8. What crushed others has refined you. What silenced others has become your voice. That is why your difference unsettles people, because your very survival is a prophecy of resilience. The harsh truth is also the liberating truth. You were never designed to fit into shallow molds. You carry a fire that exposes lies, a compassion that heals the broken, and a wisdom that cannot be bought. And yet, have you noticed how the more you step into this light, the more opposition seems to rise? That is because darkness never fights the average, it only rises against the anointed. Your enemies are not evidence of your failure, they are confirmation of your calling. History testifies to this pattern. Prophets, reformers, and visionaries were often ridiculed before they were revered. Think of Jeremiah, mocked for proclaiming truth. Yet history remembers him as the weeping prophet who never bowed to falsehood. Think of Martin Luther King Jr., despised by many in his own time, yet his dream still echoes in generations. Both scripture and history confirm being chosen has always meant standing against the current. And have you noticed that deep down, you've always carried that same unshakable defiance, an unwillingness to bend to corruption, even when it costs you? That is the mark of chosenness. Your journey is not just about personal survival, it is about legacy. Every act of kindness you offer, every boundary you defend, every moment you choose integrity over compromise shapes the atmosphere around you. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:13-14. Salt preserves. Light exposes. You are both, a preserver of what is sacred and a revealer of what is hidden. That is why your presence disturbs falsehood while refreshing the weary. But here is where the harsh truth transforms into glorious truth. What isolates you now will elevate you later. What feels like exile today will be revealed as preparation tomorrow. Joseph was thrown into a pit and a prison before he reached the palace. David was hunted like prey before he sat on the throne. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Your detours are not delays, they are designs. Chosen ones. You must no longer shrink from this identity. The world does not need you diluted, it needs you fully awake. Unapologetically bold, unashamedly radiant. The truth is, you will never be normal. Because normality was never part of your contract with heaven. You were made to be different, to disturb complacency, to awaken souls, and to shift atmospheres. And when the weight feels unbearable, remember, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. What feels like the end of your strength is often the beginning of His. So, I call you, now rise. Rise into your uniqueness. Rise into your truth. Rise into the calling stamped upon your spirit before you were even formed in the womb. Your journey will not be without storms, but it will never be without purpose. And when history looks back, your scars will not be seen as shame, but as the fingerprints of God's faithfulness etched upon your life. Before we close, I want to thank you deeply. To those who have supported this channel, shared your comments, liked, and subscribed, you are building a community of light in a world that often prefers the dark. To those who have gone further and blessed with super thanks, know that your generosity fuels this mission more than words can capture. And to those who simply watch in silence, you are equally part of this family. Your presence matters. If this message spoke to your spirit, don't leave it silent. Press like. Share it with someone who needs courage. Drop a comment below and subscribe so we continue walking this path together. Your engagement isn't just support, it's partnership in spreading truth to those starving for it. And now, I bless you. May your path be illuminated, your heart strengthened, your wounds healed, and your purpose fulfilled. May the harsh truths of your journey become the holy testimonies of your triumph. May you walk in peace, radiate light, and stand unshakable as the one chosen by God.